So I watched Obsession, and before I say anything, this movie is not horror. This is an intervention. This is almost a 2-hour long public humiliation campaign directed at people who create relationships entirely inside their own freaking heads, dude. Because the setup is actually so simple. Bear works at a music store. He has like Nikki forever, childhood friend, co-worker, classic situation. We have seen this setup before. Normal movie logic says maybe confess, get rejected, cry, and move on. Movie ends. No. Bear looked at a normal human interaction and said, actually, I will be consulting ancient supernatural forces here. Immediately the worst decision of 2026. So Bear buys this thing called One Wish Willow, already a red flag. Brother, when has buying mysterious magical objects ever worked? If a store sells something like One Wish Willow and the owner isn't in prison, leave. That's not a business, that is a side quest. And this is what kills me. Bear's wish isn't even ambitious. You have one wish. One. You could have asked for money, which his friend did by the way and then just died a few minutes later. But anyways, he could have wished for money, power, success, perfect health, unlimited Spotify premium, no ads on YouTube, world peace. This man looked at unlimited possibilities and chose make my crush love me. Brother, you used a legendary artifact to skip one difficult conversation. I cannot support this. And then it works, which should have been the warning. Movies have trained us. If supernatural wishes work instantly, run. You are not winning, you're not entering an act 2, bro. You need to run and save your life. At first, Bear is happy. Nikki suddenly starts liking him. Too much? Way too much. And this movie does something genius. For like 10 minutes, your brain goes, okay, maybe this isn't that bad. Then Nikki starts acting off. Dude, this woman stares at this guy when he's sleeping, hidden in a corner of his room where she isn't even visible, starts screaming mid-conversations, makes expressions that will literally make you wanna piss your pants. When this guy goes to work, she stands in the door for the whole day. She pisses and relieves herself in the same position. I cannot unsee this. This is literally demonic behavior, dude. She snaps in between, breaks a glass bottle and hits her in the face with it. I just don't know how Bear even lived with this girl, dude. And she even killed 2 people, by the way. I'll come on that later. And the thing this movie understands perfectly is that obsession isn't romantic. It's terrifying because Nikki doesn't feel like somebody falling in love. She feels like somebody whose operating system got corrupted. She's physically there, but something feels wrong. Every interaction starts becoming uncomfortable, too intense, too available, too perfect. And suddenly Bear starts realizing, wait, this wasn't love. This was emotional identity theft. This guy literally calls the customer service of the One Wish Willow and hears the real Nikki crying and yelling in the background of the call. Dude, I don't even know how this guy continued from there. And then the movie starts doing the thing, where Nikki occasionally breaks through. And bro, these moments, actual nightmare fuel. Because suddenly you are realizing, oh, she isn't choosing any of this. She's trapped. This isn't romance. This is possession. Imagine becoming a spectator inside your own body while somebody else pilots your life. No, thank you. Absolutely not. And meanwhile, Bear keeps making decisions that made me want to pause and stare at a wall. Brother, at what point are we admitting this experiment failed? You have reached the point where your crush is behaving like an SCP anomaly, abort mission, destroy artifact, call literally anybody, dude. But no, Bear keeps trying to manage the situation. Manage? Brother, this isn't a customer complaint. You accidentally cursed a human being. This isn't communication issues. This is demonic HR.
But hold on, can we talk about the friends for a second? Because this movie randomly decided to become sad for no reason. At first I thought they were just background characters, movie friends, people who exist to say, hey man, are you okay? Then disappear forever. No, the movie said actually let's make them likable first. Cruel, dude, absolutely cruel. First Ian, brother. Ian's entire role in this movie feels like one normal guy accidentally spawning inside the wrong genre. Everybody else is doing supernatural emotional warfare. Ian is over here trying to have regular human interactions. Like he just does not want to be around Nikki every single time she starts acting weird, dude. He's just trying to distance himself from this shit that is going on. Bro's just living life. Meanwhile, Bear has entered ancient artifact territory, and the worst part, Ian low-key had life figured out more than Bear. Because while Bear was overthinking himself into another dimension, Ian was just existing, talking, moving, being a functional member of the society. Crazy concept. And then Bear, brother, you had options, dude. This movie kept dangling opportunities in front of you. There was literally somebody trying to push you to toward normal human happiness, and somehow this man looked at all possible paths and chose forbidden wish item. Actually unbelievable. Anyways, and then can we talk about her, Sarah? Oh my god. Look, I'm not saying she carried, but I'm saying the movie absolutely knew what it was doing, because she had the exact energy where you're watching and immediately go, oh, she's cool, she seems nice, she actually understands Bear, she can be much healthier for him. Dude, she literally liked her and Nikki tried to set her up with Bear, and the movie just absolutely wrecked her, dude. The way she goes out, I mean, dude, I just literally felt very sad for her. I'm like, I don't know, dude, it was just so sad. What annoys me is Nikki herself was Loki trying to push Bear toward her, towards something healthier, before everything just became emotionally radioactive. Literally standing there waving giant flags saying, bro, there are other people, move forward. And Bear's response is basically, no thank you, I choose this ancient curse. And then the movie does the thing I hate, the oh no, this side character actually mattered move, because suddenly the consequences stop feeling funny. Now it becomes weird that they got dragged into this mess, dude, because somebody couldn't survive one slightly awkward conversation, they had to lose their life. That's just insane, man. I mean, I feel bad, especially for Sarah. Oh my god, she's so cute. Imagine being minding your own business and your friend accidentally starts the emotional apocalypse. I would be furious. And that's what hurts, dude. Not even the deaths themselves. It's that they feel unnecessary, like this wasn't fate. This was a tragedy, to be honest. I just feel bad for the two friends. I mean, her last dialogue before literally going out was, and you're supposed to kiss me. Oh my god, I literally cried, dude. Anyway, coming back.
There's one point where the movie basically forces Bear to confront the most painful realization imaginable. You wanted to be loved, but not this. Because what people actually want isn't obsession, they want choice. You want somebody to wake up and decide, yeah, I choose you, not the universe deleted my free will. And that's where the movie becomes way smarter than the trailer makes it seem. And can we talk about how uncomfortable the acting gets? Nikki's performance genuinely feels broken. Not over the top horror broken, like subtly wrong. You know when somebody smiles but the timing is wrong, or they are being too nice, or they act too intensely. That her smiles are creepy as shit, dude. The entire second half feels like being trapped in a conversation you cannot escape. Also, can we acknowledge how evil this movie is conceptually? Because every lone person had that fantasy. What if my crush suddenly became obsessed with me? This movie looked at that thought and said, okay, let's simulate that. Enjoy. And then immediately punishes you for thinking that. The funniest part is this movie accidentally becomes anti-delusional propaganda. After watching this, I wanted to personally apologize to direct communication. Text your crush, dude. Get rejected. Move on. Do anything except ancient magic. And there's the horror twist nobody talks about. The villain isn't Nikki. The villain is avoidance of Bear. Bear wasn't evil, to be honest. I mean, he was, because he did not run away, did not try to, save Nikki, and was trying to adjust throughout until the end. But he was scared too. But the movie basically says if fear turns into entitlement, you become dangerous. And suddenly you are not rooting for him anymore. You're watching consequences, which is why people online started saying Bear became the real horror. And honestly, that's fair enough. By the final act, I wasn't even scared anymore. This all happened because you didn't have a slightly awkward conversation. This entire movie is the butterfly effect of poor communication. Thousands of years of human evolution, technology, civilization, all defeated by, hey Nikki, can I tell you something? That's why I actually respect this movie, because under all the horror, it's weirdly honest. Fantasy love sounds amazing until you remove freedom. Then it becomes terrifying. And suddenly the thing you wanted becomes the exact thing you want to run from. So yeah, Obsession wasn't a horror movie, it was exposure therapy. Bear needed confidence, Nikki needed freedom, dude. Her life got wasted and two people died for no reason. And Bear also died, by the way. I don't know if that was his fault, but still he died. So yeah, the willow needed to be thrown into a volcano, dude. Who the hell is making these things and selling it to normal people? And I needed to sit quietly for 10 minutes afterward and appreciate the rejection, because after watching this, getting friend zoned doesn't really feel that bad now. Also, by the way, I couldn't sleep the whole night because I was so scared of Nikki. So yeah, in the end, I'd like to say subscribe, dude.